This video provides an analysis of the critical habitat and federally protected species potentially impacted by the development of Highway 3241 in the Bush and Talisheek areas. We will begin by focusing on protected fauna, including keystone animals and their critical habitats. First is the gopher tortoise, a federally threatened keystone species. These tortoises dig massive burrows up to 40 feet long, which shelter over 350 other species from fire and heat. Development involves several regulatory hurdles for the gopher tortoise. These include mandatory surveys, 25-foot buffer zones, and complex relocation permits. Collapsing a burrow constitutes a federal crime, or take. Next is the Dusky Gopher Frog, one of North America's most endangered amphibians. It is federally endangered and relies on ephemeral ponds. Talisheek is a primary designated recovery zone for this species. Development impacts include hydrology restrictions, as altering the natural drainage feeding ephemeral ponds is a violation. The designation of critical habitat units subjects the land to the highest level of protection. The red-cockaded woodpecker, or RCW, is federally endangered and dependent on old-growth pine forests. Unlike other woodpeckers, the RCW excavates cavities exclusively in living pine trees, signaling a healthy ecosystem. For the RCW, development faces strict forestry limitations. It is illegal to cut down a cavity tree. Federal guidelines also require maintaining specific foraging habitat and consultation if an RCW cluster is nearby. The ringed map turtle is endemic to the Pearl River system and is federally threatened. They require rivers with moderate current and abundant basking logs. Threats include water quality degradation and habitat modification. Development near the Pearl River faces extreme scrutiny due to runoff regulations concerning siltation and turbidity. Shoreline restrictions also limit development to protect the turtle's habitat and prey. We now transition to protected flora, examining endangered plants and the critical ecosystems they rely on. The Louisiana quillwort is a primitive, seedless plant that is federally endangered. It is restricted to the Boga, Chita, and Pearl River basins and is highly sensitive to water quality. The presence of quillwort almost guarantees the land is a jurisdictional wetland. Permit denial is likely if development jeopardizes its continued existence. Altering water flow constitutes a legal take of habitat. The longleaf pine savanna is the ecosystem engine, a globally imperiled, fire-dependent habitat. Less than 3% remains. All the endangered species mentioned rely on this specific ecosystem to survive. Development faces a major conflict due to mandatory fire maintenance. The longleaf habitat requires prescribed burns every 2 to 3 years. Residential subdivisions are incompatible with these controlled fires, increasing wildfire risk. This video was presented by Residents for Rural Integrity, aiming to protect the ecological heritage of St. Tammany Parish through conservation and compliance for the citizens of Bush and Talisheek.